pretty clean. We'll just take a day to day with a couple guys like Irv coming out last week. So we'll see. I think Charlie will be limited a little bit with a hand issue. Aside from that, I think we're relatively clean.
What's he? Burrow didn't go full last week. Is there an expectation that you'd like him to go full, or how is that going to look like?
Today's a walkthrough, so I expect him to be able to take all the walkthrough reps.
But then
Take a day to day. Yep.
Zac, after going back and watching through film, just what did you like about the way the defensive line played?
Oh, they were relentless. They put a lot of pressure on him. Good against the run as well. And so again, just never really allowed them to get into great rhythm. I think that was critical, and I think the coverage on the back end matched that as well. They did a great job with the pressures and matching it with the coverage, and just really felt like our defense did a nice job. Getting the stop on the around reverse on the 3-yard line. Nick Scott's the one that kind of knocked him out of bounds there, held him to 3 points. DJ had the sack on the next play. There were some critical moments in the game that maybe don't get made a lot of, but were big parts of us winning.
Rams pressure focus for you guys obviously was Aaron Donald, but for these guys, how much is it across the board? What challenges do they provide, literally end to end and interior as well?
Yeah, really tough. They're really difficult. It feels like playing an AFC North team when you play these guys. I remember first feeling that in the playoffs a couple of years ago against them. And so, last year they had some injury challenges across the board on defense. This year, I think they're a lot healthier. It shows up on the tape. And they've really got after these quarterbacks they played the last couple of weeks. Even if the sack production isn't necessarily there, they're there. They're grabbing them. Some of these quarterbacks are making strong plays. But I think their defense as a whole is really tough, really disciplined. They play well together. They make it really difficult. They make you earn every single yard you're going to get. You ask about the defensive line. Their defensive line is really impressive across the board and with the depth. They got guys that can come in there and impact the quarterback and impact the run game. They're number one in the league against the run, yards per carry. That shows up on tape. And so it's a challenging defense.
Joe, excuse me, Zac. I know your name. One of the biggest struggles of this team has just been first half offense finding its footing, and Joe's captain has been part of that. But what to you is the key to kind of getting on track early in the game and getting the offense going?
Yeah, we just got to get a fast start. I think that'll help us.
You've often said you pride yourself on this offense winning a bunch of different ways. Certainly, the game against Tennessee is proved. I think you kept the ball for the last 6 minutes of the last game.
Yeah.
The way you guys are playing now, it kind of fits what you're doing, isn't it? If you're managing the cap, it almost seems like you're managing the clock, you're managing the game, maybe a little bit more differently.
Yeah, that comes up. It's you got to play some of these games smart. Just like you'd play an AFC North game, you got to be smart with your decision making. As players and coaches as well in terms of how we manage the game. You got to win all the situational battles. And the turnover battle is critical. And so these guys do a great job. Their punter can boom in a long way, and they play the field position battle. They pinned us down there a couple times last year and tried to make us come out of it. Penalties are critical. We had 2 OPIs against them last year that really set us back on 2 big drives. We had some penalties on punt return as well. And so those are things that we've got to be really, really disciplined about this year.
How has Jonah Williams played on the right side through 3 games for you this season?
They're good. Our offensive line last week, protection, Donald got the 2 sacks. I don't think he got credit for one, but it was him. And then he got a quarterback hit on one. Aside from that, I thought those guys really kept him clean. The one he had to scramble out to the left, we had an MA on the route. We had a great play going there. And that what made him leave was more so the shock of probably the error. And so I thought those guys up front really gave us enough. Jonah's included in that, and was really impressed. Really, we had our challenges the first week. I think the last 2 games, man, these guys have really risen to the challenge.
How exactly do you balance when you go up against a defensive line up front like Tennessee's? It's so good, stout against the run, versus wanting to be able to run the ball to do what you want to do?
We just want to do what we need to do to score points and win the game. That's it. That's our objective. And so, again, establishing the run, establishing the pass, doing this and that. What do we got to do to help our team win the game and allow ourselves to score points? And whatever it takes before the game, during the game, that's what we're willing to do.
And I assume part of getting off to better starts in the first half is doing better on first and second down. Is there anything you see in those two downs that you could be doing?
Penalties have killed us the last 2 weeks. That's a big thing that we got to clean up.
What's it been like going up against Derrick Henry the last few years as a team, and kind of how good has he been amongst NFL running backs over the last few years?
He's if you allow him to break through the line of scrimmage, it's a real problem, and especially he's good behind the line of scrimmage as well. He's hard to bring down, but once he gets moving, it's like a freight train, and we saw that last year. They hit the screen on us, and he got in the open field and had that explosive touchdown. So again, he's a great running back, and he poses a lot of challenges for defense.
So your first game against a Division I from last year. What's that? Is there something?
Say that one more. What would you say?
No, Zach Jackson.
Yeah, I was gonna say my brother's in Jacksonville. They won the division.
It's just the AFC South game, so never mind. I'll take that question back.
Okay.
I'll ask you a different one. The Jets picked up Trevor Siemian. What did he kind of show you all to be in the conversation of being in the backup job? What does he provide to an NFL team at this point in his career?
I didn't expect to answer Jeff's questions today, but I like Trevor. I like being around him. He was smart. He's had experience in this league. Brian had coached him before he liked him. He impressed us. He was getting better and better every week, understanding our offense. But I think he'll do a great job wherever he's at.
Zach, when a team's back is against the wall, 0-2, and Joe says he felt like he had to play, so his team didn't go down 0-3, and they respond like they did. You guys have done it before, but what does it kind of remind you about this team, their demeanor, and everything about them?
It doesn't remind that's what our expectation has been. Is we all know it's a long season, and when you're in control of the things you can control as a team, that's why I think we have the confidence that we've had through 2 weeks. It's all the fear and panic is always coming from outside. It's always, in these rooms and when you interact with people outside the building, that's where that comes in. But so it's nice that this is always limited, because then you just get a chance to be around the people who've got the confidence. And so I've always, that's always what we've embraced and enjoyed. And then you go out there on game day and just play your brand of football. And it's good to get the first win of the year, to get that winning feeling back in the building. That's always a positive. But we know that it's a long season. And again, just like I said, we stubbed our toe early in the season. It's a marathon, not a race. We stubbed our toe on the start, and we expect to pick things up and find our groove.
You remind the team there's only one unbeaten team in the AFC through 3 weeks.
No. I mean, we're aware of just the league, wherever, there's a general awareness there. Those are conversations you do have as the year goes. That's our bye weeks usually falling at the midpoint of the year, and it's kind of good to paint a picture at that point of just kind of where things stand and who you got left. And I think week 3, it's just control what we can control the Bengals, focus on us week in and week out, and things take care of themselves.
Burr Smith being nicked up a little bit, Tanner Hudson a little bit. What did you think his play overall at the tight end position?
Yeah, he had the big catch in 2 minutes. That put us in good scoring position. We weren't able to capitalize on it, but Tanner's a smart guy. We've all got a lot of confidence in him. Joe's got confidence in him, and he's one of those veterans. Somebody know the nickname of his alma mater?
Mule Riders.
Nice. Well done. Southern Arkansas Mule Riders. Yeah.
Zach, you carried 3 quarterbacks on Monday night. Was that just germane to that situation, or could you see doing that in the short term moving forward?
We'll see. I wouldn't have made that decision. Certainly that pertained to last week and just where Joe was at. But not necessary to make that decision at this point.
You mentioned the penalties a few times. Is it concerning that those false starts were some of your most veteran guys, or does that make it easier to digest that, knowing that they're not going to?
It's not easier to digest in any way. We can't do it. So again, that's something we've got to clean up. The OPIs are all, sometimes that's a big guy and a little guy, and the flag just comes out. And so something we got to help T with, because sometimes it just looks bad when it's not really as bad. And that's just the nature of being a big receiver. He's always going to have to deal with that. But the false starts, we can't have that. It set us back too many times now, and really killed us in some drives.
What kind of a coaching point do you give to you? I mean, it's like, other than he gets screwed, I mean, it's like, how do you help him prevent it from happening?
Yeah, it's difficult. I don't have a great coaching point for him. You know, he does a really good job. He had a tough OPI call against these guys last year when you watch the tape, and you know, he's blocking and a guy engages him first. And, you know, aside from standing there with your hands behind your backs, it's difficult. And so again, that's the difficulty for the officials too. You know, there's a lot of times pushing and pulling within a confined area, and it's hard to see. And so I get all that. So just one of those things you got to manage when you're a bigger receiver like that.
Zach, we were talking with Brian a little bit about motion, usage of motion. You guys are generally been kind of more of a static team. I'm curious how your view of use of motion has evolved from the time with the Rams to where you guys are at now, and your view of why you do or don't like to use it.
Yeah, I mean, we're a lot more drop back based than we ever were at the Rams. You know, the Rams have become more drop back based, but when we were there, it was all under center, play action, screens, nakeds. That was it. And so the motions and stuff create leverages and indecision and conflict with the run and the pass. You know, we're a lot more drop back based, and so see the picture clearly. We got really good players, and so let everyone see it clearly and be able to win. We spend a lot of time matching concepts with coverages, you know, and so trying to give Joe the best answers possible. We spend a great amount of detail on that stuff, and so there's information that motions give you. There's leverages motions give you. There's things that it can help you with in all areas of your game, and sometimes you need that stuff to complement other things. But again, we don't want to overcomplicate it with some of the guys that we have. And that's not, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying that in a positive way. They're so smart. And so you don't have to do all that stuff. But again, there is information to be gained. There is advantages to be gained there. I don't know what happens when we motion and stop, if that is not listed as a motion or if that's a shift. I have no idea. We gain the same information. But that's just kind of part of it.
Zach, how much discussion is there among your staff, trainers, whatnot, medical people about keeping the team fresh, especially on a short week and throughout the season, because you have, 5 primetime games?
Yeah, I mean, we could tell you to the minute. Joey presents it to me every week to the minute of how long we were on the field compared to the previous week, compared to the previous week, compared to the previous year, compared to week 4 last year. So we keep detailed notes on all that stuff. We have the GPS trackers on all the loads. We've had conversations this week on what guys. It's different this week because we're not practicing today, but what guys we got to keep an eye on. What the temperature is, and that affects, in the future, should we be inside or outside, on an 86-degree day. Yeah, I mean, it does when you're asking a lot of the guys in the game, and you're going to deal with back-to-back heat days. There's a lot of things. We talk about it probably more than people think.
Does that dictate whether or not you have a walkthrough, like on a day like today where you normally would?
No, this is a post Monday night decision that we've always had. That this is just the rhythm that we've carried in the past and felt like we've operated well off of it. Last year we had the Cleveland Monday night game, then we had a bye. That was different. Then we had the Buffalo Monday night game, and it was later in the season. So again, it hasn't always flowed this way for us on a Monday night schedule, but this is the schedule we feel most comfortable with and giving our players an extra day rest.
Like when you go, just having a walkthrough later in the day, not at 1:30, but at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I guess,
4:45.
I mean, was it bigger there? Just get 40
more game plan, more opportunity game plan. So more thinking about the coaches and the players in that one.
That's not a physical.
Not necessarily. No, we could be going right now at 1:30, and it wouldn't make any difference to them because it's a walkthrough. But just it gives us a little more, gives us probably 12 hours more to game plan. And then we start meetings right now at 1:00 is our first special teams meeting. So it just gives the coaches a little bit more time to make their cut-ups and script and all that.
Trey Hendrickson was pretty disruptive Monday night. How have you seen his game evolve since he's arrived here in Cincinnati?
Well, we paid him handsomely to get him here, and he's met the expectations for sure. And again, as you learn more about him and just how he's wired, he's always in it. And it's always important to him, and he takes such good care of himself and is constantly focused on how to attack people and how to get production. And football is important to him. Practicing is important to him. Playing the games is important to him. Helping the team is important to him. I love being around Trey. really 4 sacks the other night. 2 of them got called back, and so I think one of them, was a tough holding call. One of them, that was the one I'm thinking of, the face mask with the guy coming out of the backfield. I'm trying to think what the other one was. Anyway, for him to get back there 4 times, and he's credited for 2, and that's great production, And so again, even when he's not sacking the quarterback, he's there. They feel him. He's got to push up, the quarterback does, and so I thought he did a really nice job.